Alright, so I'm going to put some basic gameplay on at the start of this video. Just as I say this disclaimer, I'll explain the concept and the format of this video. Choosing which lane to push matters in Clash Royale because you might be playing into your opponent's game plan if you choose the wrong option. You have two options, the lane your opponent is attacking, or the opposite. When you're somewhat deep into a game, you can tell which side your opponent is targeting by which of your towers is lower. The lane which has the lower tower will be the attacking lane, and then obviously the opposite lane is on the other side. Please note you don't always have to push into another lane because of your matchup. If you already have a tower down to like 15 HP, don't go and attack the opposite lane because your matchup instead of just winning the game. I'll be attempting to explain which lane you should attack against basically every win condition, however it does vary. This is because you yourself will also have a deck. This creates a matchup inside of every game. For example, if you're an Expo deck against a Miner, you wish to attack the opposite lane to avoid them getting poison value onto your tower and your Expo. However, if you're a Giant deck, you may wish to push the same lane to dissuade them punishing you when you invest your Giant. So the lane changes depending on all of the win conditions. Obviously I can't sit here and cover every win condition and every matchup because that would be like a 2-hour long video, so instead I'll just narrow it down to if you're using a punish deck or if you're using an investment deck. If you need help identifying which your deck is, I'll have both of my videos on those topics plugged in the iCard in the top right now. So let's start with Miner. With a punish deck, you wish to attack the opposite lane. You don't really want your opponent to gain free support with a Miner after defending, because this is more elixir that you'll have to spend on defense. With an investment deck, always go the same lane. They're less inclined to commit to punishing with a Miner attack if they know that you can simply use counter-attacking units and then ruin them 10 seconds later. Logbait wants to attack the opposite lane almost always, meaning you should aim to go in the same lane. This is for both punish and investment decks, as forcing them into your lane could cause you to get some major log value. Against Hog with a punish deck, you wish to go into the opposite lane. This is because the Hog deck supporting units aren't necessarily potent. This allows you to attack, have a musket or something coming in on the counter, and then get an easy trade on it. If the Hog player was coming in the same lane, they would support that musket with a Hog and it would be a whole different story. With an investment deck, however, you do wish to go into the same lane. This is because when you invest, they will play a Hog into your investment. This allows you to kill it with support and have said support follow behind your tank for an easy push. Bridgeman sort of follows the same deal. With a punish deck, you wish to play the opposite lane to not allow your opponent a build-up of units to push with. But with an investment deck, pushing the same lane will benefit you as your opponent never wants to play into your tank and grant you an easy defense. Mortar is sort of a weird one. I was just going to merge it into Expo, but it's actually really different. With either a punish or an investment deck, go into the other lane. You can plant units there to distract the mortar better than if you pushed into it because of its minimum range. This means that any defense they use around their mortar is futile, and it's essentially a wasted building. Against a Giant deck, you wish to play the opposite lane as a punish if you can. This means that you put your entire elixir bar into the other lane once they're down 5 elixir, and then get an easy trade on the Giant later on. With an investment deck, just go same lane. If you're DPS from your support, or if your tank is more efficient than theirs, you'll shred through their Giant and move on to a bigger push. This is the same concept for Goblin Giant, as they're essentially the same card. Against Hogs, I'm not really too sure if I'm honest, although I'd say always go same lane. To defend them, you use spells or splash attackers. If you attack the same lane, they'll have defensive units muddled in with their Hogs that you can get mad spell value onto. With an investment deck, going into the same lane also stops them punishing, which gives you a massive edge. Graveyard, you should aim for the opposite lane when using a punish deck. You don't want any defensive unit to counter-attack and give them an easy tank for an incoming graveyard. With an investment deck, always same lane to stop the punish from being effective. Expo, you should look to attack the same lane as it. This allows you to block it whilst getting potential spell value onto their tower. When using an investment deck, it will also allow for tanks to just run through it and start your potentially game-winning push. Against Royal Giant, you wish to push the opposite lane with a punish, but same lane with an investment again. Lava Loon is once more the same deal, although it does depend on your deck list. If you have an investment deck with almost no air defense, then go into the opposite lane instead and aim for an instant free crown, but you shouldn't be in this scenario if you make a good enough deck. Golem should only ever be same lane if you are a Golem deck yourself, otherwise just rush the other side. If you play into a Golem, you're likely to lose as it has so much HP that you're going to be spending too long on the tank to actually push through. Finally, 3 Musketeers. This one is less about matchup and more about spells. When a good muskets player splits their muskets, they'll put 2 into the lane that they are not attacking. They do this because they know that you'll spell them. This makes them likely to use the 1 musket to push with. So if you're continuously spelling the side they're not attacking, you'll want to push this opposite lane with a spell value that you'll attain over the course of the game. So there was sort of a distinct pattern when writing all of this, but I'm way too far in to stop making this video now. Any win condition as heavier than your own, you wish to go into the opposite lane. Any win condition as cheaper than your own, you wish to go into the same lane. That's the general rule from analysing all of these win conditions. However, some do go the other way, so I'm making this video anyway. You must understand the concept of punishing and investing before this video makes 100% sense, so once more, I really suggest you click into the top right and check out my 2 videos there so you really get what I mean. To end off, shouts to Ali for actually not trolling this time and suggesting that I make this video. It's not entirely what he suggested, although it's my take on it, so screw you, Ali. I should probably iterate that people will probably disagree with me in the comments over some of the lanes I chose in this video, and that's because Clash Royale has so many possibilities that some things work out best for some players, whilst they may do the opposite. I'm open to discussion, so feel free to leave me a hate comment down below. Along with that, if you wouldn't mind sharing and subscribing and all that jazz, it would help out a lot. But apart from that, peace.